Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar. Run through the weather warnings as we have a yellow rain warning issued for Monday, as we are going to see some very heavy rain moving up from the south. Not only are we going to see heavy rain, but we could see quite a few thunderstorms developing as well, as it does look like a very active area as we head through Saturday morning, dying out potentially through the afternoon into a large area of rain, and then could reactivate again through the afternoon and evening. We'll have a look at that in detail on the latest UKV and AROME runs, and not only looking at the next day, but with the UKV looking at the next 5 days, as it is looking like a pretty changeable week. Some drier, warm weather at times, but equally some wet and windy weather, perhaps Wednesday into Thursday. And then as we head into the longer range, again, it's continuing to look changeable. There could be some decent dry days, there could be some cooler, wetter days as well. The ensembles are definitely more on board with something cooler and more changeable, whereas the operational runs are a bit more bullish with something warmer and drier. So a little bit of a disconnect there between the operational runs and the ensembles, but we will have to wait and see. It does continue to throw a bit of a spanner in the works for the longer term, so we haven't really had any consistent trends over the past week or so. It's been very changeable. We'll just have to wait and see. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, if you start on the live radar, you can see through this evening, Sunday evening, with of course the Euros finals on. It is a stunning evening, so if you are out and about, I hope you do enjoy it. As you see, there are a few heavy thundery showers around, but mostly it's actually really quite pleasant. Lots of sunshine, and the temperatures into the low 20s for many. But as we have said, it is all going to change through tomorrow. From Monday morning, it is going to be turning cooler and a lot wetter. You can see the temperatures are pretty pleasant through this evening. You can see across the North Sea coast, it's a little bit chillier with a bit of low cloud drifting in, but up and down the British Isles, you can see temperatures around the low 20s, and that is symbolic by those more orange colours. But it is all going to change tomorrow, and you can see we have got a yellow warning issued for rain across western parts for all of Wales, extending to northwest England, down the West Midlands into southwest England from 8 a.m. until midnight, with heavy rain spreading across north across the area during Monday. And you can see here, outbreaks of rain, some heavy and thundery, will spread steadily north across the area during Monday. Some torrential downpours are likely in places, with 15 to 20 millimetres falling in less than an hour, maybe 30 to 40 millimetres in 3 hours. This is likely to lead to localised flooding, slower travel times, and a small chance that homes and businesses could be flooded. As said here, lightning could be a further hazard. You can see it is here moderate impact or medium impact, very low likelihood. So you can see here it is mostly issues from the rain, but it is coming from thunderstorms or decaying thunderstorms within that. So that's why we have a rain warning, not a thunderstorm warning, because the main impact will be widely from rain. Locally could be from thunderstorms. Now, if we do have a look at the AROME run to start off the video, if we do have a look at the England and Wales look, you can see that rain heading in from the south as we head through the early hours of Monday, and you can see it is exceptionally heavy and thundery when it arrives. Now, it does decay a little bit as it heads northwards through Monday morning into the early afternoon, but you can see through the afternoon and evening we could see more active storms, perhaps in the southeast there, breaking out overnight, and yes, it could be really quite horrendous indeed as we head through Monday. We'll have to wait and see exactly how it does play out, but you see there is pretty horrendous. Now, if we have a look at the midday run, it has actually just now updated, so we can have a look at that for Monday evening. You can see all of that thundery outbreak across much of southeast England there, and you can see it continues through Monday evening into Tuesday, and really only spiralling away and decaying through Tuesday morning. So it looks really quite horrendous there for much of Monday into Tuesday. So if you have got plans, unfortunately the next couple of days does look like it could be a washout for much of England and Wales. Lots of torrential heavy rain, and you can see there are moderate levels of Cape, not high, so we're not expecting anything crazy, but that's why there could be some thunderstorm outbreaks behind the initial band of heavy thundery rain. Now, if we do have a look at the UKV to compare, you can see as we head through into Monday morning, that very heavy rain arrives, does decay away a bit through the morning into the early afternoon, and then it could reinvigorate through the afternoon and evening, turning heavier and thunderier through the evening, eventually decaying through Tuesday. And the rest of Tuesday, yes, a few heavy thundery showers around in the afternoon, but mostly a drier affair. Into Wednesday, again, a similar pattern, a few showers around, some more persistent rain arriving from the west, but should only really arrive in the far west in the daytime, with the evening and overnight where it heads in further. Now into Thursday, it does look like we will see some heavy rain, especially in the west. You can see initially it's heavy, but then it slowly decays away and becomes more fragmented through Thursday afternoon. So hopefully it shouldn't actually be too impactful for most. It will just be a bit drib and drab out there, a bit cloudy and drizzly with some more moderate pulses at times, and eventually fully clears into Thursday evening and Friday. Now, if you do have a look at the max temperatures, you can see this afternoon, 20 degrees or low 20s for many, with that stunning sunshine out there, where we avoid the showers today. As you saw from the live radar, they are few and far between. As we head into Monday, where we do avoid the heavy rain, it could get again to 20 or 21. As the low pressure is moving up from the south, it does bring in more humidity and more warmth. So that's why the temperatures aren't actually too bad through Monday. But, as I said, it will bring a lot of rain, and that could exacerbate the showers. That's higher levels of humidity. As we head into Tuesday, again, temperatures could be around the low 20s. Slightly fresher air does come in at the backside of the little low pressure, the trough. So again, it could turn slightly cooler. And then into Wednesday, again, a pleasant day. Temperatures will climb to the low to mid 20s. We've got much drier, sunnier conditions, 23 or 24. And then you can see into Thursday, again, temperatures could rise to 23 or 24 in the far south and east. But unfortunately, further northwards for Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, Scotland, maybe mid-teens at best, as we do see a lot of heavy rain pushing in from the west, that weather front pushing in. It could change. I must emphasise that there is the risk that it doesn't happen, or it is much lighter than anticipated, but for the time being, the latest UKV is showing it moving in quite significantly through Wednesday into Thursday. Now, if you look at the latest GFS, you can see the trough out to our southwest at the moment. That moves in over the next 24 hours, giving all that thundery rain through Monday and Tuesday. Brief ridge of high pressure for Tuesday into Wednesday, and then the next low arriving from the northwest. Again, it does stay out in the Atlantic, so that's why there is massive uncertainty about the exact eastwards extent of that weather front, but you can see it is out there to our west. Into the weekend, we do see more low pressure systems trying to push in off the Atlantic. Again, more little troughs. So again, we'll have to keep an eye on those, see how deep those get. And then, as you can see into next week, we could see high pressure building for a time. Actually, some warm high pressure with the wind direction coming from the southwest. You can see actually a quite big wedge of warm air. So it looks pretty decent indeed. But then in the subsequent days, we do see slightly fresher conditions before eventually the warm air arrives again, but with a cut-off low. So it would turn thundery there. So you can see the GFS does show some changeable conditions in the longer term, but a lot more warmer air masses, I must say, which is a little bit against what the ensembles are showing, as we'll see at the end of the video, where they're a lot fresher. It's very similar in terms of the changeable conditions with on and off precipitation, dry days, also wetter days, but GFS definitely a lot warmer than those ensembles are at the end of the video. Now, if you look at the latest GM, again, that trough coming in from the southwest over the next 24 hours, high pressure nudging in for eventually more low pressure comes in off the Atlantic later this week. As we head into the weekend, again, low pressure dominating, and then as we head into the following week, high pressure tries to build in, but we see these little troughs dipping in with the jet stream. You can see the jet stream, if you look at the 300 HPA wind, is over the top of us, if not over the English Channel and southern England, which is pretty far south for this time of year. It should be moving through Iceland. And that's why we should be warmer with more of a southerly airflow. But unfortunately, more of a northwesterly airflow is apparent here. And that's why we do have cooler air masses. And you see this from the temperature deviation, more blues around. Not exclusive, but more blues. So GM, again, following on from what the ensembles are showing, which is fresher conditions and changeable conditions into next week. Now, if you compare to the ECMWF, again, low pressure moving in at the moment. We do see some high pressure moving in for a period of this week, but then we can see low pressure again in from the west. As we head into day 10, again, we do see these lows trying to come in off the Atlantic. But we do see some higher pressure to the south, and we do see a big split here at day 10. Warm air in the far southeast, very warm air in fact, much fresher air in the north and the west. So yeah, that's a very interesting pattern to see. We'll have to wait and see exactly how it does play out, but you can see Cooler air is trying to dig in, but we do hold that warm air in the far southeast. So it looks like the eastern OF here is kind of in between the GFS and the GEM. It does have that northwesterly flow, but it holds onto the heat and the warmth in the far south. Now, this is huge contrast to the ensembles, which are pretty bullish and have fresher conditions into the second half of July. You can see changeable over the next couple of days in terms of the upper air temperatures, up and down precipitation. Definitely some big spikes there for Monday into Tuesday. But then you see into next week, you can see some briefly warmer upper air temperatures into the weekend. But then you see it's average to below average with up and down precipitation. So precipitation isn't terrible, but definitely the temperatures are a little bit of a downwards trend. That's complete contrast to the GFS operational run. You can see the GFS operational does have cooler patterns, but it's generally more average to above average, especially in that longer term period. So again, have to keep a very close eye on that. If you look at the 2 meter temperatures, again, they're pretty changeable. Low 20s looks quite likely, but I suspect as we get nearer the times, there'll be warmer days and there'll be cooler days. And the eastern WF is even more bullish on a bit of a fresher pattern. Again, average to above average over the next sort of 5 or 6 days. And then beyond that, so look at that, a couple of degrees below average with up and down precipitation. So again, it wouldn't be horrendous. We are in the middle of summer, so even below average is still warm conditions. But if we're being completely honest, this is, again, continuing the poor streak. As I said in yesterday's video, the CET for July so far is 1.4 degrees below average, or it was as of yesterday. So if we see this sort of pattern continuing, I wouldn't be surprised if we remained around 1 or 2 degrees below average for July. If this is the trend, which would be a pretty remarkable pattern considering we haven't seen a month more than a degree below average in years. Literally years, and it was the first time we saw a below average month in June for many months, if not stretching into a couple of years. And June was only 0.1 of a degree below average. I think actually the last time we did reach that was December 2022, where we were below average because we had a good cold 2-week cold spell at the start of the month. Since then, we haven't been below average in a single month, if my memory is correct. Maybe I'm missing 1 month there, but anyway, the overall sort of picture is the same. Very abnormal conditions we have at the moment. They're probably normal if we go back to sort of the 1900s, but for the 2000s, this is highly unusual, especially the 2010s into 2020, to be seeing this much cooler conditions, or cooler than average temperatures. We will have to wait and see how the rest of July sort of is, but if this pattern continues, this would be a pretty exceptional month for the last couple of years. Could be 1, maybe even 2 degrees below average if that longer term stays a couple of degrees below the 1991-2020 mean. But for the meantime, it is going to be relatively warm this week, up and down, but relatively warm, some decent days. But we are going to see some big thunderstorms through Monday, so make sure you do stay safe if you have got any plans for tomorrow. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.